is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
As we inch closer to the beginning of the school year, more school districts are deciding to make last-minute changes to plans for students. Now, one district is holding off on starting the school year altogether. Good afternoon, I'm Lauren Casey. Wayne Township schools were supposed to be one of the first districts to have students back in the classroom this month. Well, now those students will get an extra 2 weeks of their summer vacation. Last night, Wayne Township School Board voted to delay the start of the school year by 2 weeks. The first day of school is now scheduled to be on August 12th. Spokesperson Mary Lang says the decision was made to ensure that each school had enough safety measures in place to protect students, teachers, and staff. Wayne Township schools had already announced they would require all staff and students in grades 4 through 12 to wear masks at school. The district is also giving students the option for virtual learning from home. And last night, Indianapolis public school officials talked more about reopening plans for the largest school district in central Indiana. IPS will offer both in-person and at-home learning, and they're planning to start the school year on time on August 3rd. During last night's virtual town hall, the director of the Marion County Public Health Department talked about what would happen if a student or a staff member tested positive for COVID-19.
Usually they're required to report to us within 24 hours if they have a positive child or staff person or employee in their premises, and we will be there within 24 hours making recommendations.
IPS's safety plans, mandatory social distancing, and mask requirements for students and staff, and the deadline to opt out of in-person learning is set for this Friday. Perry Township schools will also be open to students on their first day of school. It's set for July 29th. In-person and e-learning options are also available to students. Face coverings must be worn by staff and students in designated areas when social distancing is not possible. Masks will be provided to any school member that needs one. Washington Township schools are moving in another direction. As we first told you on the news at noon yesterday, Washington Township will start its school year July 30th with online classes for all of its students. Washington Township School Board says it's keeping students out of school buildings for now, in part because black families are at higher risk for COVID-19. Washington Township also canceled all sports and extracurricular activities for the fall semester. Down in Johnson County, parents and community members joined in on a virtual coffee chat today to stay in the know on the district's plans for reopening the schools in the coming weeks. Pending the school board approval at the end of the month, the school district there plans to bring the Trojans back on August 5th, using the 4th as a waiver day for additional prep time. They're offering traditional in-person classes to all, but virtual option is available. However, parents choosing the virtual option must commit to an entire semester or year, and a form needs to be filled out by July 19th. By the end of the day. Face coverings will be required in areas where social distancing is not possible. They also shared plans for sanitation and air circulation. Well, the new numbers on COVID-19 are just in from the state health department. They show a slight increase in COVID-19 cases from the last 2 days. 662 new cases and 13 new deaths were reported today. Hospitalizations are also up slightly compared to the 767 statewide. ICU capacity is at 37.8%. Time to take a turn right now, though, to our forecast. Todd Clausen is standing by from home. Todd, good afternoon. What can we expect today for our Tuesday?
You know, the sunshine that's out there right now, Lauren's going to continue as the temperatures will start to make their way up into the 80s across most of central Indiana. You see right now we're in the 70s and 80s, right at 80 in Indianapolis, 82 in Bloomington, as well as Sullivan. 77 is the current temperature over in the Richmond area. And here is the view to the north. You just see those high fair weather clouds, and it'll be a nice afternoon as the humidity levels are still going to remain fairly low across the area. And you can see some of that high cloud cover drifting in. What you will not see from any of these clouds is any precipitation. It's going to be a dry afternoon for us, and really kind of a nice afternoon as some of these high clouds come in. It'll kind of shield us from the direct sunshine throughout the peak heating of the day. Look for temperatures to get up to about 87 for the high in Indianapolis, and then once the sun starts to set this evening, we'll cool back down into the 70s. And as we cool back down into the 70s after sunset, it'll set us up for a pretty nice evening. The 90s, though, they are set to return return tomorrow. We'll talk more about that forecast for you coming up in just a little bit, Lauren.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. New this midday, the federal government has carried out its first execution in almost 2 decades. This morning, a man convicted of murdering an Arkansas family in the 1990s plot to build a whites-only nation was put to death in the federal prison out in Terre Haute. Daniel Lewis Lee's last words were, "You're killing an innocent man." Lee's execution came after the Supreme Court lifted a stay imposed by a lower court judge in a lawsuit over the drugs used during the lethal injections. 2 more executions are scheduled in Terre Haute for this week. Attorneys for a couple whose confrontation with a black man near Lake Monroe went viral say the claims that were made against them are false. Fox Booker has spoken out several times saying the men in this video pinned him down and threatened to lynch him. There are multiple recordings showing part of what happened. You can hear the inappropriate language, including a racial slur from others who were with Sean Purdy and Carolyn McCord. Purdy's attorney says that does not tell the whole story and that Booker instigated that confrontation.
You go on a neighbor's property and you start punching people, you can be restrained. And he ended up against the tree. No talk of a noose, no talk of a rope, no talk of a lynching, no white power. And you don't have all the video, okay? Mr. Booker says that he survived this near lynching, yet he stays to videotape people as he race baits them, Whitey. And then he gets one of them to say some racially insensitive stuff.
Purdy and McCord have been interviewed by the FBI. Now, moments ago, we did receive this statement from the attorney for Vox Booker. He denies that Booker provoked the encounter and also says, quote, "This is what repeatedly happens. The victim gets blamed and shamed. He gets re-victimized. Vox Booker is the victim. Black people across the nation have been the victims," end quote. His attorney also says Booker is speaking to the FBI as part of their investigation. A Black Lives Matter street mural could soon be painted here in downtown Indianapolis. The City-County Council adopted a special resolution calling for the mural last night. If it moves forward, the mural would be painted on Indiana Avenue between its intersection with West Street and its intersection with Paca Street. The councilors say they want to convey a message of condemning racism and inequality. The Indiana Avenue Cultural District once stood as the center for the arts and the home ownership for African Americans who were once segregated from other parts of the city. Time now for one more look at our forecast. Hey, Todd.
And Lauren, temperatures have been pretty comfortable the past couple days in the 80s. Well, that is about to change. There's been some extreme heat across parts of the Southwest. And look at this hour and keep in mind the time change. Phoenix is at 96 degrees already, triple-digit heat across the Texas Panhandle. A lot of that is heading our way. We don't see the triple-digit temperatures, but heat index values get there by the end of the week. We'll talk all about it in your Storm Team 6 forecast when the news at noon continues right here on RTV6.
Welcome back. We do have breaking news to share with you. You should have just received an alert from us on your phone if you subscribe to those about this road closure. This is in the downtown area. All lanes of I-65 southbound are closed right now heading into the South Split due to this garbage truck that's on fire right now. You can probably see black smoke billowing from where you are around Indianapolis in the downtown area. And this is a closer look from our INDOT traffic camera. This is again near the South Split and fire crews are at the scene with the hoses out working to put out these flames right now, but traffic is at a complete standstill heading southbound there after the North Split heading towards the South Split in downtown. So avoid that area and get off the interstate as soon as possible if that's part of your commute for your lunch hour. We'll continue to keep you updated. If you've waited until the last minute, your last minute is here. The filing for deadline for tax returns is tomorrow. The IRS pushed back the deadline due to COVID-19. Our Kelsey Anderson spoke with a financial advisor about the deadline and how you can get ready for next year.
When the pandemic hit, the IRS extended the tax payment deadline 90 days. That means tomorrow is the deadline to pay if you owe. I spoke with John Amatuli of Amatuli & Associates Financial Services. He says if you are still unable to pay when it's due because of the pandemic or any other reason, the IRS can assist you with a payment plan. Although that's not what he recommends because he says the IRS will charge you. Amatuli says while it's easy to think about right now, it's also important to think about next year's tax season.
I recommend the folks to work with a financial professional, a CPA or an advisor to look at, some tax exempt investments or tax deferred investments, because as I mentioned earlier, we do feel that tax rates in the future will go up. And if you have those vehicles, that can save you some tax dollars down the road.
Amatuli says if you are able, consider boosting your retirement contributions. You may be eligible for certain tax credits that could help reduce your tax bill on a dollar-for-dollar basis. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. Most students are heading back to the classroom soon. During a pandemic, though, cleaning is more important than ever. So we're going to show you how one school district is trying to keep the coronavirus from spreading. And let's take a look outside right now from our Weather Now camera here overlooking the Circle City. Todd will have your full forecast and look ahead to the rest of the work week. You're watching the news at noon right here on RTV6. Welcome back. So there are just a few weeks of summer left for most of Central Indiana's students, and school districts are keeping a close eye on the continued spread of COVID-19. But most are moving ahead with their plans for those in-person classes. And part of the plans include deep cleaning before and after students return. Our Cameron Riddle talks to a school district out in Shelby County for a look at how they're working to keep students and teachers both safe and healthy.
As schools across Indiana prepare to reopen for the first day of school in a pandemic, keeping students and staff safe and every surface sanitized is at the top of the priority list.
At the heart of it, we're trying to keep our students and our staff as safe as we can and make the school year look as normal as we can given the circumstances.
Katrina Falk is the Director of Transportation and Communications for the Shelby Eastern School Corporation. She says the school district has spent much of the summer getting the necessary supplies to reopen schools. That includes purchasing cleaning supplies that are strong enough to kill germs but won't hurt students or damage surfaces, both in the classroom and on buses.
All the products that we are using are EPA approved products, and they are also in alignment with the CDC guidelines for working against coronavirus. Most of the products that we're using in our buses are commonly found cleaning products like 409, Lysol, even isopropyl alcohol.
Falk says they will not be using bleach as it is strong enough to destroy some surfaces. She says when school reopens on August 5th, one of the biggest challenges will be transportation, where social distancing is a challenge. She says all of the district school buses will be cleaned multiple times a day.
After the morning routes, the buses will be sanitized immediately following when the students are dismissed, and then in the afternoons, they'll be sanitized again after the end of the bus routes.
The district is taking its cues from state and county health officials with the understanding that plans can change at any time as the pandemic continues. But before any bus moves or any school door is open, Falk is asking parents for patience and flexibility.
We have a reopening plan that's been approved by the school board, but based upon what's happening in Indiana, what the guidance is from our governor and from the Department of Education, that could change in a moment's notice. So as proactive as you try to be with the situation, even the best laid plans sometimes fall short.
In Shelby County, Cameron Riddle, RTV6.
Cameron, thank you. It is time to take a turn now to our forecast. Todd, we have one more comfortable day to get out there and maybe go for a nice walk for your lunch hour, sit outside. What can people expect this Tuesday?
More in the way of sunshine here this afternoon, although we'll probably build in a little bit of high thin cloud cover, and you can already see that starting to happen, Lauren. But these are the high thin clouds. They're not those big cumulus clouds that are going to build and eventually produce thunderstorms across the area. In fact, I think today is going to remain dry for everybody all across the area. So get out there and enjoy if you can. As Lauren alluded to, some changes are heading our way, and we'll talk about those in more detail in just a second. 80 in Greenfield right now, as well as Martinsville, 81 Greencastle. 79 is the current temperature in Tipton as well as Peru. The humidity is low out there, so it's just going to be a terrific afternoon for us. Our normal high this time of year is 85 degrees, and we'll be right around that in many locations to the north, such as Tipton over towards Muncie and Richmond. To the east, Logansport to the north, about 85 degrees. As we slide down to the south, we'll see some areas get close to that 90-degree mark in Bedford as well as Bloomington. So even though it's hot and above normal, again, the humidity is still fair. fairly low, so that is the good news. And then in and around the metro area, temperatures are going to be topping off generally around 85 to 87 degrees. So just a really, really nice afternoon for the middle of July and in the middle of a summer. Now, the satellite radar picture showing a little bit of that high, thin cloud cover starting to make their way into the area, but back off to our west. There are some storms, and this is the cold front that's going to start to make its way towards the area tomorrow, and that will bring the chance of rain back into the forecast. But when we talk about the rain chances tomorrow, we're talking about late in the day. Most of the daytime hours for your Wednesday are still going to be dry. So tomorrow's forecast, we start off a little bit warmer in the mid to upper 60s compared to this morning where we had 50s across parts of the area. And as a result, we're a little bit warmer in the afternoon with highs right around 90 degrees. Most of the day is dry, but then those showers and storms will start to approach the area. Now, the strongest storms tomorrow are going to be in central Illinois during the afternoon and evening because that front will arrive there during the peak heating of the day. When it arrives here in central Indiana, the sun will be setting, so there will be a possibility still of a few spotty strong to maybe borderline severe storms, and we'll have to see exactly where that band of rain makes its way through. But the Storm Prediction Center does have parts of central Indiana under the marginal risk for severe weather for tomorrow night into Thursday morning. So that's something we can fine-tune tomorrow throughout the day because, again, the rain will be coming in after sunset and then into the overnight hours. But it does open the door for a very hot and humid stretch of weather. Heat index values, Lauren, by the time we get into the weekend and next week, probably over 100 degrees, maybe as high as 104, 105 with those actual temperatures in the mid-90s.
Oh, all right, Todd, thank you. Well, these days when you make a move, it's easy to make sure that your mail is being forwarded correctly by simply using your computer. But there are some websites claiming they want to help you with that process when they are simply trying to take your money that you don't need to spend. Tim Maniscalco with the Better Business Bureau has more.
Summer is the time when a lot of people move, and when you move, you typically have to do a change of address. Now, you can do this through the post office online, and it's actually pretty easy to do and very expensive to do. I think the post office charges something like $1.05 to change your change of address online, so it's a very simple thing to do. But what scammers have done is they have tried to mimic that website at the U.S. Postal Service and have you change your address through them. They're going to charge you some money. All of a sudden, then you're going to get a charge on your charge card, and it's not going to be from the U.S. Postal Service. It's going to be from some other entity or something out there. If you try to get your money back, they may say something like, well, we'll get part of your money back, and you're not going to have your change of address go through. So if you are going to be moving and change of address, you can go online and do that, but make certain you're at the U.S. Postal Service's website. The best way to make certain of that is go up to the URL bar, hover over that for just a few seconds, make certain that it indeed is the U.S. Postal Service. This fake website out there, it looks very real. Don't be paying any money into that. Once again, the U.S. Postal Service will do this for you. My understanding is that it costs about $1.05, so pretty cheap to do. And don't get caught by this other fake website out there.
Tim, thank you. I want to get back to that breaking news that is impacting your commute this lunch hour in the downtown area. All lanes of southbound I-65 are closed at the south split due to a garbage truck on fire. We had black smoke. You can see that we have a number of crews out there working to finish putting this out, but all those lanes are closed to traffic, so you'll need to avoid the interstate through the downtown area. Plus, we have westbound lanes of I-70 closed at this spot. We'll have more just after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. It is Tuesday, and that means it's time to show off our pet of the week. And this week we say yabba dabba doo to Pebbles. Pebbles is 2 years old, and Indy Humane tells us she's a very sweet dog who loves people. Now, she would do best at a home with maybe older dogs and older children, as she likes to bounce, jump, and wiggle into laps for attention. Her adoption fee is $175, and you can make an appointment to meet Pebbles today with Indy Humane at indyhumane.org. A great day to take Pebbles or any dog out for a walk, Todd. It's a pretty nice lunch hour.
Absolutely, Lauren, and it's going to be nice throughout the afternoon. A little warm and temperatures in the upper 80s, but the humidity will be low and some high thin cloud cover out there. Tomorrow's dry through the daytime hours, storms late in the day up to 91. A little cooler with the storms on Thursday, then a lot of heat and humidity heading into the weekend.
Todd, thank you, and thank you for joining us and making RTV6 your choice for news. Have a great Tuesday.